Malik the Bullet Brooks was once the pride of Southside Chicago. A black kid with a killer fastball, he worked his way from cracked pavement game to the mound of the major leagues. He signed with the Miami Storm when he was just 20, pitching shutouts and collecting millions. He was flashy, charming, and never short on women. But no one knew how fast the fame would fade. After tearing his rotator cuff in his 8th season, Malik's career nosedived. Rehab didn't help. The team released him. He bounced around the minor leagues, trying to claw back to glory, but the calls stopped coming. Soon, so did the money. Malik returned to Atlanta with his wife Carmen and their 2 kids. They moved into a modest home in a quiet neighborhood. No more VIP lounges or limousines, just bills, arguments, and the weight of disappointment. Malik tried coaching at a local high school, but the paycheck barely covered groceries. Carmen worked 2 jobs, real estate by day, waitress by night. The strain showed. Her dreams of being a ballplayer's wife turned into being the rock that held the family together, and she was tired. When Carmen suggested hiring help for the kids, Malik wasn't on board at first. But when Nanny showed up, 26, pretty, soft-spoken with long braids and a calm voice, he changed his tune. She had a way with the children, and soon with Malik, too. Nanny came from East Point. She needed the job, said she was saving to open her own daycare. She moved into the guest house behind the main home. Here the trouble began. Malik and Nanny got too close too quick. Carmen noticed the late-night parenting talks in the kitchen, the laughs, the lingering hugs. One night, men came home early from her shift and caught them in the garage. Too close, too intimate. The fight that followed shook the walls, but Malik convinced her it was nothing, that Nanny was just grateful for the job. Carmen didn't buy it, but she stayed for the kids, for the life she once dreamed of. Malik's savings were nearly gone. He tried crypto, sports betting, a few shady investments. Nothing worked. Loan sharks started calling. He owed over $130,000, and the only thing he had left was the house. Carmen suggested selling. Malik refused. "This is all I got," he barked, but secretly he had another idea, one that would change everything. Nanny wasn't as innocent as she looked. She knew about Malik's money troubles. She also knew he still had a life insurance policy from his MLB days, one Carmen was the beneficiary of. But with a little convincing, that could change. She started whispering things in Malik's ear. "You'd be better off without her. Start over with me." At first, Malik laughed it off, but the more sure Carmen put on him about money, the more he listened. Nanny told Malik her cousin Dre could help, clean and quiet. Dre was a street hustler with a rap sheet, but he needed cash, and he didn't ask questions. The plan was simple. Wait until Carmen visited her parents in Stone Mountain, then stage a break-in. Make it look like a robbery gone wrong. Dre would handle it. Malik would be out with the kids. Nanny would provide the alibi. Carmen packed her bags that Friday. She was tense. "You act like you want me gone," she said to Malik. "I just think you need a break," he replied. "Clear your head." She looked at him long and hard. "Don't forget who held you down." He didn't respond, just kissed her goodbye. The next morning, Carmen was found shot twice in the kitchen of her parents' home. The front door had been kicked in, drawers ransacked, but nothing value was taken. Her parents were at church when it happened. When they returned, the house was quiet, too quiet. Then they saw her. Police questioned Malik. He cried on cue. "She was the love of my life," he said. "We had our struggles, but we were working through them." Nanny stayed in the background, offering coffee and comfort. She never mentioned Dre. She didn't have to. Detectives noticed something odd. Carmen's phone had been reset after her death. It pinged near Malik's home that same night. A rookie mistake. They Egan digging deeper. Lonnie's cousin Dre had a record a mile long. Surveillance from a nearby gas station showed a car similar to his leaving the area minutes after the murder. And Dre, suddenly nowhere to be found. Word got around. Dre's own cousin spilled to police in exchange for leniency on another charge. He said Dre had been bragging about a job he did for a washed-up ball player. Malik and Nanny grew paranoid. They tossed phones, erased messages, and stopped sleeping. The walls were closing in. Malik was arrested first, then Nanny, both charged with conspiracy to commit murder. Dre was picked up weeks later in Memphis after trying to rob a pawn The news made headlines: ex-MLB star in murder plot, sponsors distanced, former teammates deleted his number, fans were disgusted. Courtroom drama followed. Carmen's family sat front row. Lonnie cried during testimony, claiming Malik manipulated her. Malik stared at her like she'd betrayed him. Dre, he took a plea deal and turned on both of them. The jury didn't need long. Malik was sentenced to life without parole. Lonnie got 25 years. Dre got 18 with possibility of parole after 12. Carmen's family wept. She gave everything to that man, her sister said, and he gave her death. Malik's kids went to live with Carmen's parents. The house was sold to cover legal fees. Malik's baseball legacy was erased. Fans once cheered his name, now they barely remembered it. A golden arm turned cold killer, all for money, and a woman who never truly loved him. Old teammates couldn't believe the news. Some remembered Malik as cocky and driven. Others said he was always battling demons. The scandal rocked the league, prompting discussions about mental health and post-career support for athletes. From prison, Lonnie began writing letters. She blamed Malik for everything, said she was manipulated, brainwashed. A journalist got hold of the letters the published excerpts. Public opinion shifted slightly, but most still held her responsible. Carmen's sister launched a foundation in her name, the Carmen Brooks Center for Women in Crisis. It offered shelter, counseling, and legal help for men trying to escape abusive relationships. The story wasn't just about a fallen star. It became a symbol of domestic survival. In prison, Dre refused interviews. He stayed to himself, never speaking Malik's name. Some inmates said he regretted taking the job. Others said he'd bar Ajed about it when the lights were off. Malik entered the state penitentiary as inmate 68834, but the guards and inmates just called him MLB. At first, many respected his fame, but that I didn't last long. Behind bars, glory fades fast, and weakness is hunted. Malik had to learn fast who to avoid, who to befriend, and who could get him hat he needed. His days were filled with cheap food, restless nights, and constant tension. Lonnie wrote him once, but he didn't reply. He was alone now, and he knew Lonnie was sent to Pulaski State Prison. It was colder than she expected, emotionally and physically. She didn't fit in at first. The other inmates didn't care that she had once lived in a big house or been the center of a scandal. They saw her as another manipulative woman who used a man to get ahead. She tried to keep her head down, enrolling in GED classes and working in the laundry, but the weight of her choices haunted her. Carmen's parents took in the two children, Malik Jr. and Layla. They were quiet at first, confused and hurting. School became their safe space. Carmen's mother, Miss Loretta, kept her daughter's memory alive in their home. Photos, stories, and daily prayers surrounded the kids with warmth. Malik Jr. struggled more than his sister. He missed his dad. Layla, just 7, often asked when mommy was coming back. The truth was heavy for every nay. The trial had turned Malik's fall into national headlines. Netflix wanted rights. True crime podcasts picked up the story. An independent filmmaker, started filming a documentary titled Broken Fastball. People argued over who was the true villain, Malik or Lonnie. Some blamed both. Others pointed to a broken sports system that used up black athletes and left them empty. In prison, Malik got a letter from his high school coach, Mr. Darnell. "You had so much promise, son," it read. "Fame changed you, but you still got a soul. Don't let prison kill it." The letter shook Malik. For the first time, he cried alone in his bunk, remembering when life was simpler, before the fast cars, the cheating, the blue. A prison chaplain grew close to Laney. One night during prayer, she broke down and confessed. "I didn't pull the trigger, but I might as well have." He admitted she planted the idea. She even picked the day. Dre just made it real. The chaplain encouraged her to tell the truth officially, but Laney feared it would change nothing. Years passed. Dre became eligible for parole. During the hearing, he gave a full testimony. "I did the job, yeah, but I ain't plan it. Malik and that Nanny, they set the whole thing up." His words were broadcast on court TV, bringing renewed attention. Carmen's family pushed for stricter sentencing laws for murder-for-hire cases. The Carmen Brooks Center expanded. With donations from community leaders and former athletes, it opened a second branch in Augusta. Women shared their stories in public forums, citing Carmen's story as a warning and a legacy. 10 years into his sentence, Malik started writing in a notebook, not a memoir, just thoughts. They say I had it all, but I lost myself way before. Murder. I ain't proud of who I became. His writings were later published by a non-profit under the title Fastball to Freefall. At 17, Layla asked to see her father. Carmen's parents agreed. The visit was cold at first. Malik cried. Layla didn't. She stared at him and asked, "How'd you do it?" He had no answer, just tears. Layla never visited again, but she started writing him. She didn't forgive, but she needed answers. Malik replied with honesty, each letter soaked in egret. Malik Jr., now in college, refused any contact. After 20 years, Lonnie became eligible for parole. She gave a long statement apologizing to Carmen's family. Miss Loretta attended. "You ain't just hell. Ped kill my daughter," she said. "You stole her baby's peace." The board denied Lonnie's release. A former sports writer asked Malik to do a prison interview. It aired nationwide. Malik looked aged, gray, thin, remorseful. To any young athlete watching this, money don't make a man. Character does. I had talent, but no character. Don't be me. Every year on Carmen's birthday, her family held a candlelight vigil. Friends gathered, shared stories, and sang her favorite songs. Her light, they said, never dimmed. Dre was released after serving 22 years. He moved to a small town in Mississippi. A local reporter found him. He refused to talk. "I did my time. Let the dead rest." Rumors said he lived quietly, working in a mechanic shop. Broken Fastball premiered on streaming platforms. It included interviews, reenactments, and courtroom footage. Viewers were stunned at how fame, bet, rile, and greed tore a family apart. The documentary won awards, but also sparked debates about exploitation and justice. Lonnie remained behind bars. She taught Bible classes and helped younger inmates. No one visited her. Her name faded from headlines, replaced by new scandals. She often stared at the wall at night, whispering Carmen's name. Malik began working with a prison outreach program, warning young men about choices and consequences. He held workshops on responsibility, regret, and recovery. His words resonated. Inmates listened, not to the baseball star, but to the broken man. The Carmen Brooks Center added youth counseling, helping children cope with trauma. Layla became a social worker. She spoke at events, telling her story without shame. She died because someone loved himself more than his family, but we rise anyway. One night, Malik wrote, "Dear Malik, the young version, you had a fastball no one could hit, but your ego struck you out. I hope you learn from me." Hope someone does. He never mailed it, but he read it aloud during a prison group session. Time passed. Pain dulled. The world moved on, but not those closest. Carmen's parents aged, Malik aged, Lonnie grew sick, Dre disappeared from public eye. But Carmen's story kept breathing. Malik died in prison from heart failure. He was 63. His death made a brief headline, but the real story lived elsewhere, in Carmen's children, in the Foundation, and in every woman who escaped abuse because of her story. In the end, the game wasn't baseball, it was life, and the price of playing it dirty was death. Remember to share, like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you on the following story.